Hey, Restorers. I'm joined by Garret Gray. You've seen him here many times before. This is not a new face to the podcast at all. So, Garret, welcome. Your keynote was amazing. He
Thank
just
you.
wrapped up like 15 minutes ago
Yes.
talking about AI. And
Yeah, so I still have all the jitters from being on stage. So you have all that energy.
high energy.
Yeah.
I like it. It was really good. And you made it through a little bit of like technical difficulties. And you made it through.
I guess my 4K videos were too much for their laptops. So next time I'm going to use my own laptop.
There you go. There you go. It's because you come from a technology company.
That's right.
That's right. Okay, so people probably know you, I would think, but introduce yourself for people who do not.
Yeah, my name is Garret Gray. I am the president of Corelogic's global insurance division.
Yes.
So anything to do with insurance with Corelogic.
And how long have you been in the industry at this point? Like, share your evolution.
Yeah, so I got into the industry a good 20 plus years ago. And yeah, I started out as a director of marketing for a restoration company.
Yep.
And I worked my way up to as a general manager of a restoration company, then got into some consulting, then technology, and it's been technology, for at least 17 years.
For a minute. Yeah, it's been technology for a minute.
Yeah.
So let's start with like what's new at Corelogic and what are you seeing kind of in the property insurance space, restoration space when it comes to technology in general?
Yeah. I think AI is, I mean, we've been the whole purpose of this conversation today at Core has been AI.
Yep.
I think that's really starting to impact people in meaningful ways now. Some of the things I highlighted for Corelogic is the ability to take the photos that are uploaded into the system and then tag them, describe them, taking away a lot of the manual work that contractors have to do. The other is Mitigate that just launched.
Yep.
Mitigate had like I think 30,000 downloads in the first week, so it was pretty
awesome.
pretty crazy. It has really AI driven capabilities to scan a room or actually a whole property and diagram it for you. So you don't have to sit and do it yourself. It will turn it into an actionable diagram that you can send to other estimating platforms or our estimating platforms. So it really speeds up the process. So I see like AI impacting pieces of the workflow.
Sure.
And I think people used to think AI was going to just transform everything all at once. And at least our approach has been incremental value that we can deliver every day. And then, you'll look back in 5 years and go, okay, that's a big change, but it feels easier to absorb this way.
That 1% incrementally makes a bigger change overall than trying to leap forward. And you're whoop, that was not.
Yeah.
We see that happen in technology all the time where you take too big of a leap and it's like, whoops, that was not quite what we meant.
That's right.
So talk about like, you're always at the forefront of technology and AI. And so it sounds like you coming into your keynote today really had been listening to the industry and taking into account, like, where's the industry actually at?
Yeah.
Because you look at it every day. And so you're way ahead of the rest of us. Right. So,
and what's funny is this one, like, I really like boiled down to the basics.
You did.
And then I was like, I got off stage thinking, oh my gosh, everyone was so bored because they already knew all this stuff.
No one knew that stuff. It was great. Yeah. I was telling you off camera, I had the same kind of thought when I was doing a panel at Access, and the audience was the same, where they stopped us like a few questions into the panel and they're like, go backward.
We don't know.
Like, let's start with ChatGPT. I don't even know what you're saying. How do I even use this? Like, where do I start with using it? So what have you been telling? I don't know, give us like a high level part of your keynote and kind of what you talked about.
Yeah, look, so I think there's some really cool tools that you can use, both that are industry specific, like ours, and things that are not industry specific. Yes. And so one example I gave is my twins just turned 7.
Yes.
And so I told ChatGPT, I have twins that are turning 7. Their names are Ollie and Crew, and they love dinosaurs. Yep. Can you create me a birthday invitation?
Yeah.
And it created like this really cool kind of creative, right? Yeah. And at first it came with no images, and it was like, have a roaring good time and a dynamite time, so it incorporated the dinosaur like talk track. And then I said, give me an image, and it turned it into like this cute, like, dinosaur image. Like, so, these are just simple ways that you can use technology. The other example I gave that I actually really love is there's this house that I wish I could show it to you right now. It's a white house with the flood, water. Everyone in this industry used this. Hey,
McGuire making an entrance there.
Everyone in the industry used this house at one point in their marketing, and I proved that point by literally reverse image searching and showing every company that's used it, and you could scroll forever. And so that's because getting a image of what we do is actually really difficult.
Yes, it is.
And so so now you can, we used two technologies, ChatGPT connected to DALL-E 3. And we basically said, hey, give me a house that is experiencing fire, flood, and water damage at the same time. And it came up with one, but it put it in the middle of the ocean, which, you know, was like not good. So we said, put it on dry land. Then that looked like it was a desert. Then we said, put it into a neighborhood. And then that became something really usable.
Yeah.
So, you know, we showed how you could create an ad without having a graphic artist, and by just prompting these two technologies together, which I think is really practical for people to use.
I totally agree. We do some of that as, you know, trying to find stock images. You're right.
Oh, it's impossible.
It's impossible.
Yeah,
and so
exactly.
we've been trying to figure out like
create your own images.
More creative ways to do this
That's
stuff.
right.
And same with video editing and all of the things. So, okay, when you look at your day-to-day work and when you're in front of your computer, what are some of your favorite AI tools that help you be more productive?
Yeah, so we use Copilot, which is a Microsoft product. What I like about Copilot, it's built into all the Microsoft apps. So you don't have to like go off and like, you know, go to ChatGPT, although ChatGPT is great, but they're very similar in a lot of ways. And so Copilot has been really great. I highly encourage people to look at that. ChatGPT, I paid it for the actual pro version of that.
Same.
I think it's necessary. It's not that expensive. It's like $20.
No, it's very there's a big difference between
big difference
like that and
That's right. And especially being able to have all the plugins and where you can from ChatGPT query other AIs and I have to like move all around, which is exactly how I did that that image that we did for this conference. So those are some of my favorite ones. I love some of the stuff Corelogic is doing because it's built into the workflow that people are already using. But I think it's every day there's something new. Every day there's something new. That we showed the Gen Runway, which took an image and then animated it. Like, and you can take that and expand it to make full-length movies. Like it's just crazy. So it's changing every day.
It is.
And I'm so excited for Siri. Siri, you know, Siri's getting a huge, if you're an Apple user, Siri's getting a huge upgrade soon.
Your whole keynote with the videos that you played in there, I was like, wow, I didn't know that. And all the demos, I was like, wow.
I'm very excited about it because, you know, I don't like Dan Xera, who, you know, the CEO of Core. When he sends text, he always sends it with Siri. So he doesn't, I can't do it. I get tongue tied. I start talking and I get kind of tongue tied, but now Siri like can handle that.
Understand.
Like, it can understand what you're trying to say. You don't have to like speak perfectly. It will have context about like, hey, I was just on this email, you know, I want to schedule a meeting with this person. It knows who it is. Like, I'm, you know, want to go on a hike and you say there and it's referencing the place you were just talking about. So it's getting to this place. I showed the trailer for Her in the beginning, which is a movie that came out in 2013.
I hadn't heard of it. It was wild.
Have you not heard of it? You should go watch it. So basically what happens is this new AI comes out, which is basically like a Siri, but one that's like super intelligent. And they both fall in love together, meaning the technology, you know, AI falls in love with the human, and the human falls in love with AI, and it's like legit love. Like it's really it's profound. So it's what's cool is that we're getting to a place, not cool that we can fall in love with AI, but it's cool that we're getting to a place where AI knows enough about us to fall in love with us, because that can really help us live our lives differently.
That movie reminded me of, have you seen Flubber with Robin Williams? And he's got this little AI robot that follows him around, and she falls in love with him in that movie. And that
I'm gonna have to look at that
90s movie with Robin Williams, and that so much reminded me of that. And she follows him around and is like recapping his day. It's very similar, so you should check it out.
Well, this is the whole like life is going to imitate art, like and that is exactly what's happening.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to change topics really quick. You just had an article in Forbes.
I did.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Strange, but yes.
Congrats. Okay, so talk a little bit about that, because it was about finding careers in the insurance and restoration industry, which nobody goes to college thinking, I'm going to get a job in insurance.
And it's a big problem for our space because there is a mass exodus of people leaving it, mostly from like retirement. But also like it's tough stuff that we do, right? It's hard to get people to want to, you know, get into a sewer loss or, you know, get to a crawl space and, you know, put on protective gear. It's not necessarily the most fun stuff that we do. But what's good about what we do is it has a purpose, and we're really bringing people back from what's a really difficult situation to something that is, you know, more positive. And that greater purpose is something that this new generation of kind of employees really will resonate with. And so what it tells us is that if you want to recruit in this space, there's a couple things that you got to do. One, you got to be up to the latest technology, because this generation likes technology and they don't want to sit and write things down.
No.
And they're gonna be expecting AI tools and stuff like that. They want everything that they can possibly have to make their jobs easier to do.
Yep.
And then culture. I think culture is a big thing. Having a culture that is people focused, not just on your people and really treating your people well, but treating your customers in such a way that you realize you have the gravity of what you're doing for them, and then, you know, painting the bigger picture for your employees. So I think that's going to be really critical for both recruiting and for retention.
Okay, so talk about really quick on the culture piece. I was thinking about that. You had a great culture at Next Gear, and you've managed to continue it at Corelogic.
Yeah.
It's a much bigger company.
It's a little harder, but
a lot of people follow you, and a lot of people that are still there, which speaks volumes to the culture that you must have. So how do you keep a great culture, vibrant culture going at a much larger scale now?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think really it's doing the same stuff that we always did. Nothing really changed. And I think what I had to do when I got to Corelogic was, you know, really say, hey, like, we have a particular culture because we're in a competitive space, and in some of the other bigger pieces of Corelogic are in, you know, kind of more they're more secure positions. They're not the challenger brand, and so it changes the way a little bit the way the culture is. But you know, I think one of the things that's been really great at Corelogic is that they recognize that we're playing a different game, and they give us, you know, the latitude to have what is somewhat a unique culture.
Yep.
But I think it's the main key is that you don't take your eyes off the fact that if you have happy employees, you'll have happy customers. And so figuring out what about your policies, your procedures, what about, you know, how you're treating employees that would kind of drag their energy down, and trying to figure out how to do that in a different way.
Yeah.
There's things that we have to do that, you know, aren't always employee friendly, but I think the way we do it, how we talk about it is really critical. So that, you know, all the stuff like making sure you have good communication, tying them to a vision and a mission, making sure they understand how they're making an impact. You know, for us, like, we get a lot of like fulfillment out of the fact that our clients are doing these really important things. And if we can help them do that better, then we're helping people who are, you know, in a disaster situation. So I think, you know, tying those things together, it's similar to what I put in the article.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. I'm going to jump into my 2 questions.
Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
Okay. What do you think is the number one thing it takes to thrive in restoration?
So I'm going to connect it to the last thing we just said. I think it's your people.
Yeah.
And like what I have noticed about very successful restoration companies and ones that maybe struggle is ones that struggle to keep good people.
Yes.
And if your culture drives out good people, you will never be successful. And so if that's happening, you have to look at yourself. If you're the general manager or the owner, you know, somewhere in the leadership, because that culture comes from the head down.
It does.
And so, and look in the mirror and go, how can I, you know, how can I do this differently?
Yep.
And one way you can do that too is to create a survey culture where you get anonymous survey that you actually information that you would then action on. Let your employees tell you in a safe space what you need to do better, and be open to listening to it. And
and actually take action
and
on it,
actually do something about it, and tell them what you're doing.
Frustrating than doing a survey
and then nobody.
Yes, and people are honest, and then nothing happens.
Nothing
it's
happens.
like, never mind then.
That can't happen.
No,
that's
that cannot happen.
Right. You only get one shot with that.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us a favorite story from the industry. You've been in all the seats, so what's a favorite story?
So I was running this restoration company up in New Jersey at one point, and I went to this, I'm not going to name the insurance carrier, but I went with this insurance carrier adjuster to this little old woman's house. And there was a public adjuster that was there too.
Okay.
And the public adjuster went to her church. And so she kind of trusted this guy, but he was a public adjuster. Sorry. Very slimy.
Yep.
Wasn't going to, and we were working with a good insurance company that was going to take care of her.
Yeah.
And she was older and she was scared, and you know, and so I'm like walking around with her, and I'm like, my goal is to get her to sign our work authorization so we can kick the guy out.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but she's just like hemming and hawing because this guy is like lurking
from church.
Yeah, from church. So, and I'm looking around and I see just Jesus everywhere. Like, it's Jesus everywhere. So I wasn't sure if I should tell this story, but
the second person with the PA story and like the third person with the Jesus related story.
Okay. Well, okay, good. So I say to her, like, when I'm trying to get her to sign the paperwork, I'm like, she's not sure. And I'm like, do you want to pray with me about it? And she did. We sat there and prayed about it, and she signed the paperwork before I said amen. So
Perfect. That's a good story.
I thought it was good. It made her feel better. We
Yes.
got her into the right place. It
Yeah.
kind of made the guy the kind of predatory guy have to walk away. And yeah.
And you understood the environment
And I
read
should-
your
yeah, I had
culture
to-
and
yeah.
met her where she
That's
was
right.
at.
I grew up going to church, so I knew how to do that. Yeah.
Yep. That's brilliant.
Okay.
Great story. Okay, Garret, anything else you want to share? Always
No,
fun
I
having you here.
love having you here as well, and getting to chat with you. And thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Well, I will see you at the next show and then Interconnect in January.
You should come to Interconnect in London. Go international.
Yes, I'm here. But that's soon. Okay, we'll talk about that off camera.
All right. Bye.
For more Restoration Today and the latest news, visit our website, cnrmagazine.com, and find the latest episodes of the Restoration Today podcast on your favorite podcasting platform.